Hi everyone, this is Kelly from The Truth in Story, and I am really excited to be showing you, or even myself going through thoroughly, this beautiful deck by our friend Stephen Bright. No, I have not been given this deck for the purposes of review. I have purchased this deck for myself. However, it may seem that way just because I'm really excited for Stephen. He is such a sweetheart. He is, you'll probably know him on YouTube as Tiferet Tarot, and I'll put a link to his YouTube channel in the description box below. He also does like daily readings on his Instagram and Facebook, which I think are all housed on YouTube. He does walkthroughs. And so I'll put a link to his channel below, but he's just really, I feel like a very wonderful energy to have in the community, supportive, nurturing, and I just think he's really fantastic. And so I'm really proud of him. Yeah, I'm proud of what he's done, and I'm really happy for him. That's what I meant. I'm very happy for him that Schiffer, which this deck is published by Schiffer, picked up his deck, which is the Spirit Within Tarot by Stephen Bright. And you can purchase this on Amazon and such because it's by Schiffer. And so we have this beautiful image on the box. I mean, Schiffer does great boxes. They do great packaging. My only complaint with Schiffer is generally the cardstock and the glossiness of the cards. The cardstock is much better in their recent ones, including this one. The high gloss is still there. But this is the Hermit card, which is beautiful. This is a really modern deck. It's got a vector graphic feel to it, much in the way that the Idiosyncra deck had. Those clean kind of vector graphics feel to it. But definitely the Idiosyncra deck has got a kind of sweetness to it, whereas this is much more of an adult, modern rendition of the Rider-Waite-Smith. This is definitely a Rider-Waite-Smith recreation, and that's really clear in it. So in the inside we have, of course, what Schiffer loves to do and what we all like to have is a magnetic lid with the ribbons. We can see Stephen here, and it says has a little bit of information about Stephen himself. He lives in the south of England, and we can see the deck here. I have looked through these in my car in the post office. They came at a really bad time for me to be able to do anything with them, but I did have to take a peek at them. This is the backing of the deck, which was created by Stephen. I know sometimes, just like with books, artists can have differing degrees of input, but Stephen did message me that this was something that he created for the deck. I will obviously, sorry Stephen, no, he doesn't mind. He trims and does things to his decks, but I will obviously be edging this in black because of all of the black silhouettes. I think it will look really sharp. So, and the backing is kind of, I'm looking here, black. It is black in between them with the purple tones to it, which just looks sharp. Like when you just look at everything, it looks amazing. I mean, Schiffer, and also obviously Stephen's influence on how everything looks. They do a great job, and it really ties together cohesively and is quite attractive. So once I blacken those, which I will do before the end, so that you can see it when it's got the edges like that. I think that's everything we need to say. Great box as usual, great size. Let's take a look at the guidebook, which is really nice. Again, I love, it's got full color. They're little, so it is a little white book, but it is a little colored white book, and it's just beautifully bound. It has the glossy and the matte, just like you can see that here on the cover where there's glossy and then there's more matte. You have that same on the cover itself, which is, there's a strength card, which I love. Hermit in the strength card. I will say, for my very, very poor eyesight, it's The font's a little bit small, but it's a little white book. What are you going to do if you want to get a decent amount in here? And we all like these nice little compact things, so it's sort of one of those trade-offs. It's not what I would call a full guidebook, but it definitely has beautifully put together and designed, has a preface about the deck itself, and he wanted to find a way to combine simplicity with the richness of the traditional Rider-Waite system. And so I love that. The silhouette brings simplicity to the art of tarot storytelling. The spirits within the shadows of our own life dance through the landscape of the tarot deck, becoming the canvas that each reader paints their own personal story upon. And what he says is that he really likes how the silhouette can transcend age, gender, and ethnicity, which is lovely. You can see sorry about that, my phone was going off. You can definitely see gender to some degree, but then there are other times in which it's more ambiguous. It is definitely a leveling field, which is lovely. It does say that it was created with both the beginner and the seasoned reader. I don't think a beginner would have any issue starting with this deck. We'll look at that idea more closely as we go through it card by card, but it is very recognizable to the Rider-Waite-Smith. You could certainly use it with books referencing the Rider-Waite-Smith, even though there are changes, obviously. But I think that this would be a very easy deck for a beginner to use, no question. And so then each card has a page, including the minors, and we have a small color rendition of the card, the title of the card, and then there's sort of a message as if the card was speaking to you. That's something I actually like in oracle decks. I am the one without fear, unafraid of taking a leap of faith. Some call me naive, since planning isn't part of my makeup, but others find my approach of life refreshing, since they enjoy my unpredictability. With pure heart and open mind, a figure steps out from the cliff's edge. He is excited about this new chapter of life and wants the world to share his enthusiasm. A dog watches from a safe distance. He is excited too, but errs on the side of caution. The Fool brings new and vibrant possibilities to a reading. You will feel unbound by your past and ready to take an exciting step into a new hobby, job, or partnership. Now is a time for you to try something you'd previously thought impossible, but remember that there is a fine line between chance and foolish risk. Keywords are new beginnings, spontaneity, childlike wonder, and seize the moment. So that's what we have for each one of the cards. And then let's see, are there any? Yes, so there is a spirit cross. Here is a spread that I use within some of my professional readings and public videos. It enables a reader to gain an understanding of a situation within a time frame. So you have the focus of the spread, number 1. Number 2, you have to turn this last, represents guidance from the spiritual realm. And then 3, 4, and 5, you have the past, you have the present, and then you have the future, or the outcome, or the potential outcome. So we'll give that 5-card cross a look when we get through. So it's just all in all a really lovely, and look at how nice, it's just beautiful. Just we all do. I mean, I think people who enjoy tarot are by nature, we enjoy the aesthetics of art. We enjoy the aesthetics of these decks. I think we are visual and tactile people. I think that we tend to be drawn to tarot are also going to be drawn to those things. And so those things do matter and definitely give me a smile, and I love it. In terms of sizing, it feels shorter. Yeah, it's just slightly shorter than the average size tarot deck and slightly wider. So it has a little bit of a square feel to it, but it's a nice size. I think it's going to handle really well. The cardstock is Schiffer. It's not. This is actually a lot better, I think, than something like the Marielle. I quite like this type of cardstock over that really thick cardstock. But the laminate feels to be the same. So, you know, you definitely have a high degree of gloss on it. There. And sometimes with shiffer you do kind of feel, and I have seen a couple where it felt like the laminate was coming up. I do think that shiffer does well with a good edging, and that usually takes care of anything like that. Again, I don't mind my decks to get worn in, but it's just one of those things about shiffer. Let's zoom in so we can see the beautiful cards. The use of color in this deck is really beautiful, especially when you get into the suits. I think it's just really wonderful. I think laid out it's going to be, I haven't got to try that yet, but I think it's going to be really beautiful laid out. And I'm looking forward to seeing that because there's going to be that really defined color reference to what suits come up. So here we have the Fool card, very traditional. Again, you have this vector graphic art with silhouettes. It's just beautiful. It's clean, it's crisp, it's modern, and there is a decidedly masculine feel to it in a very positive way. Some of the genders of the cards have been swapped, but I feel like it has stayed fairly balanced even in the swappings. So that if you swapped one, then there's another, and it just all kind of balances out. So it hasn't you know, changed sort of the overall balance of the deck, I don't think. So again, very recognizable as a Fool. We've even got the flower in the hand, the edge of the clip, but there is definitely a joyousness about this Fool that I love. It reminds me energetically of the Fool in the Tarot of the Hidden Realms, where there's just that degree of joy in the Fool that I absolutely love. Here we have the Magician. Again, you can see this modern silhouette. It definitely has a feeling of somebody in modern times. We don't see clothing that would suggest this is old style, so we have this clean, modern look to it, but we do have all of the things that the Magician holds within his hands. He doesn't need to grab hold of them because they're actually within him, or he's levitating them. Either way, can you see here the bottoms have this really neat effect excuse me, where we have the Magician and then the double title in sort of a shadowed purple tone, where we have that along the bottom. I think that's really sharp. Again, it's real modern. It just looks really wonderful. It's just got these sort of illustrator aesthetics that I think just are gorgeous. The High Priestess is beautiful. We still have the pillars. We still have the moon. We've got the crescent moon. We've got her foot on the crescent moon. She is sitting so confidently. She just looks like a power. And you can't see any details, right? Because it's a silhouette. But she has that sense of power just in her pose alone. I quite love that. I also adore this Empress. I love this Empress with the wolves. I mean, I'm assuming those are wolves. They could be dogs, but for me, they're wolves. I don't know. Let's just take a peek. I don't know that he talks about, yeah, no, it says 2 dogs. A woman relaxes with her 2 dogs. This is me with 2 wolves. I'm sorry, Stephen. Their owner has reared them since pups, and they are fiercely protective of her. This woman feels connected to the world around her. So I do like that he is addressing the actual images in the card, so that I could look here and find out, okay, this is the woman with her dogs. This is the modern world who has wolves, but this is me with wolves. We can all just insert our own what we see on the card, right? So this is me when I'm feeling powerful and connected to wolf energy. They at least look like German Shepherds or something. So I'm going with wolves. I love it. It's beautiful. Again, the color tones are beautiful. You know, there's yellows and purples so far. We're seeing a lot of yellows and purples and tones, but now we're going to this orangey colors with the Emperor. I quite like him. I love his shoelaces. I love that there's other people in the background kind of showing that his decisions have more weight than just on himself, but also on the people around him. I even like his chair, which just looks very there. You know, this is just a chair. It's just seated here. It's got the 4 legs creating the square with stability usability. I really like it. It's very recognizable. But we still have this sort of traditional scepter that does give that nod to tradition, even though we don't have like an eagle or those kinds of things. It does give a nod to that traditional imagery, which is beautiful. Love the Hierophant. So this is the first one that we have changed, or that he has changed to what appears to be a female teacher. And we have two people sitting on the ground learning from her. We do still have the church in the background, so we do have that nod to that tradition and that religious authority that the Hierophant can have. But we also have much more of a teaching aspect here than an intercessory between, you know, God and man that we might have seen in the Pope. So again, modern, but still the nod to the tradition. And again, look, you can really see that standing out here, that double title, which I think is so sharp. Here we have the Lovers, very traditional. Thank you, Stephen, for giving me 3 things. Instead of an angel, we have a bird here, and we have a man and a woman. And so we have the 3 things because I always equate it to choices and decisions that we need to make between our higher self, our conscious self, and our subconscious self here. So I like there to be 3 things, and so I love that, and I love the bird there. It's just beautiful. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Now, here we can see the modern world really start to creep in. So far, you know, oh, okay, yeah, we can see some modernity, as they might say, but here we can see an actual cityscape, and we can see a young man on a skateboard. Now, my first reaction was a little bit like, oh, because I have to say, not that it's a beautiful image, please, yeah, not cringing over the image, but I'm one of those people, and it's just me, I don't tend to necessarily like modern decks. I don't really want cars in my tarot deck, and for the most part, it's just personally, it has nothing to do with readability or anything, it's just personally, it still works, and it works with the overall theme of the deck. I quite like it because if you think about a skateboarder, like I watch a lot of YouTube videos on skateboarders, and you watch a skateboarder, and there is that sense of confidence, that sense of really working with the nuances of energy. What is the ground like? Are you flying through the air? Are you rolling on the ground? Is it even ground? Are you sliding on a bar? Like, there's so many things, and there is that sense of forward motion and confidence that I think works really, really well. So I quite like it. I had to get over that initial because I was just me and modern things, but I think it works really gorgeous. This, love, 100% love the position, almost like she's getting ready to go, or he is, it could be either one, getting ready to go into a yoga pose or something, going eye to eye with a lion. It's absolutely stunning. Stunning. There's nothing else to say other than that it's stunning. Same thing with this. It's simple, clean. You don't need to know anything else. This person is up on the mountaintop. We've got the light of the moon. It's just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Of course, those are the 2 cards that we see kind of connected on the guidebook, as well as, actually no, the box just has the Hermit. Beautiful. I love the Wheel of Fortune. It's very traditional in that we've got, you know, somebody lounging at the top. You know, he better hold on because he's about to come down. We've got somebody climbing up to the top. You know, all these kinds. It's just a traditional wheel energy, but it looks really modern, and it almost has a feeling of a Ferris wheel or something. So it works really well with the deck, but again, still touches on those modern or those traditional understandings of the deck. So love it. Love Justice. So here we have Justice as a male. So we had the Hierophant as a female, but now we have the male Justice card, which I think looks really strong. I love the clouds. You know, have we not? I don't think we've had any clouds of yet. A little bit here in this one. But I love the lighting up of the sword, cutting through to the truth. I love the water that's in the background and the very prominent air and clouds, and cutting through emotion and into the truth of the matter. And I just think is a real strong, very recognizable as Justice. beautiful. This is one of probably my favorite Hangmans, as well as the Strength card. It's definitely up there for me as a favorite. I absolutely love that. And the Empress is probably up there with one of my favorite Empress cards. But this, I mean, look at that. That even the detail, if you really look at the detail of this tree and the skyline, it's just stunning. I'm not a huge person of like, oh, I love Hangman cards, but this I really think is about up there as a favorite. Well done, Stephen. I mean, it's perfectly recognizable. You just see that and you know, bam, Hanged Man. And I love this Death card. So here we have a female Death card with her wings. Let's see what he has to say about the Death card here. There are no numbers on the card, on the Major Arcana card, so that is something that works really well. The titles are there, you don't need it, and it also takes away that question of is strength at 8 or 11. You can do it any way you want. Obviously, this is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, so you're going to see that positioning with Justice at 11 and Strength at 8, but if you don't read them that way, you're not stuck with that because there's no numbers. So it says, the angel of death stands before us holding a scythe. She is strong, beautiful, and wants us to know that endings of all kind arrive daily. Death is simply an aspect of life. She will do her best to help us pass through these changes as smoothly as possible. Relationships may not last forever, courses of study will eventually finish, and even the 9 months of pregnancy must end for a baby to be born. Endings are not always easy, but this card is asking you to accept these closures because a new day is just around the corner. Endings, closure, transition, and rebirth. So we definitely have positive aspects of the Death card here. It's about endings and cycles, and that is pretty much what the Death card is about. But image-wise, it's so stunning. Again, extremely recognizable with the scythe. There's no question of what you're looking at in the graveyard in the background. But at the same time, just striking. I love it. Temperance, yeah, this is again one of those, and now Isabel's going to go crazy on the plate. Why do dogs dig to China on plates? Again, not a super fan for just a personal preference of modern things like DJs as a temperance card. I don't know, but it works. You've got the mixing and the blending, and I get it. I'm old and all of that kind of stuff, but I still do get it, and I think it works really well. And the use of color here, I think it does a really good job of giving that idea of balance as well. That's really cool. I like the blue record opposite of the blue, and the orange opposite of the orange and yellow here. So you really have, and you often see fire and water that are being mixed. And so again, traditional images with very modern, traditional symbols with very modern images. I'm probably somebody's gonna leave a comment, quit repeating yourself, but it's so nice and clear and concise and consistent, which is a really good thing in a deck, which is again why I think it's would definitely be good for even a beginner because of that consistency and still touching bases with those older symbols. A very interesting devil card here with the baby. A baby reaches out to a horned figure. The figure does not appear frightening, nor does he entice the youngster. The devil is part of us all. Like the baby, we may experience times when we feel powerless and hand responsibility over to something or someone else. There's nothing wrong with letting yourself go. A little bit of what you fancy can do to you good. However, when our appetite controls us rather than our controlling it, it's time to address the healthiness of our relationships with people, money, food, or even emotional support. Keywords are indulgence, materialism, temptations, and superficiality. What's interesting is with the baby is that when you think about it, very often, because babies haven't learned, right? They're not further along down the hero's journey, so to speak, or the journey of life. They're often very much ruled by their appetites as well. They want something, they want it now. They're hungry now. They poop, they sleep, they scream. They're very much kind of ruled by, but we always, it's time to eventually we want to grow up and take control and be able to control ourselves better. So you see those sort of aspects of control and abdicating control or taking control, even even in the baby, which is quite interesting. But you also have this horned figure of you know, with the devil, so that traditional figure. So I think that this can be read in many different ways, but I actually really like the inclusion of the baby, which is unusual. We have a very traditional tower card. The only thing I will say is, I mean, she looks pretty happy. Like, she looks like, yeah, like she's like, it's a very happy looking tower card, I will say. There is almost a joyousness even to the tower card, even though that's not, I don't think that's the intention. Sudden change, chaos, instability, but it's you know, it's a traditional, this whole tower is starting to go down actually, and we definitely have the falling people. We don't really necessarily have a lightning bolt, but it's, you know, it does have that sense of something exploding out of there. So yeah, I mean, very recognizable as a tower card. I love this star card. As I said in live chat, I absolutely love this star card, and this could, it's very gender, I can't think this is gender neutral. I see a woman, but you know, that's because I generally, you see a woman in the star card, and so I also have that assumption, but I think you could go either way with this. But for me, that bird there is amazing. As I talked about the idea on live chat, I get those kind of messages from my son or come in the forms of birds, and so to have the card about hope and trusting that, you know, people are where they need to be and everything's okay, to have that bird there is perfection for me on a personal level. So yes, indeed, I do love that card. Love the moon card. Love that we still have the two towers. We have the wolf and the dog. It's very clear. We've got the giant moon in the background. We've got the water and the land. It's just really beautiful. And just, it's the moon card. And I love the sun card a lot. I love the henge here. I love the sort of sitting in a meditative pose. I really like the energy of, you know, you have that hand motion of calling down or drawing down the moon, but you almost have that same sort of energy of drawing in the sun as well. It's just beautiful. It's empowering. It's confident, inspiring. I just think it's gorgeous. Love it. And lastly, we have, oh, not lastly, we've got the Judgment. We have no naked butts as we traditionally see, or blue butts, I say, we always see in the Rider-Waite Smith. We have people that are going forth to judgment. But my favorite thing, it's very traditional Judgment card, but what I love is that there is this sort of real modern trumpet versus sort of that long angel trumpet that we normally see, and that's pretty awesome. And then we have the very traditional world card, but with what appears to be a man. I mean, I suppose you could read it anyway, either way, but it appears to be a man in the middle, which works perfectly fine for me. There is that sense of active, empowering energy, although I wonder what he's holding here, which may be traditional to the Rider-Waite Smith world card. Holding wands in both hands, he suggests balance. Around him, we can see the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac: Aquarius, Scorpio, Leo, and Taurus. The end of the journey, achievement, completion. It just works to me really well. It's very traditional, very obvious what it is, clear and concise. Love it. And that brings us to the minors. Now, you can really see just by sliding, you can see the colorations, right? We've got the kind of brownie. They're not bright. It's not a reds or oranges, but it's kind of a brownie orange. To the wands, we have these kind of purpley blues for the cups. We have sort of a limey greens for the sword cards, and then we have the more green for the pentacles. So you have a really clear coloration in the minors, which is something I actually really enjoy. When I do larger readings, I do like to use decks that do that because it really stands out what's going on, what energy, what elemental energy is prevalent in the reading. So here we will start with the wands, and we'll just work our way through. Again, very traditional Rider-Waite-Smith with the hand. I do like that it's not coming out of a cloud, but we do have the sense that that's most likely connected to a human. We have the Two of Wands, very standing very firmly, feet apart and standing very firmly, ready to move and make plans to move into the future. The number 3, again, with the traditional ships coming in, waiting for those ships to come in, the 3 wands. We have the 4, that idea of celebration and kind of coming together for a celebration. There is definitely a period of stability here with the wands, and you can see that really clearly. Very traditional images. 5 of Wands. I mean, it's just, that's what I'm gonna, I know it's, I get, believe me, I get messages, but that's a positive. We have this sense of, it's very clear what card we're looking at, even without the titles on here. If you are comfortable with Rider-Waite-Smith, bam, this is going to be really easy deck for you to work with, which is really great. And I love there are times in which you don't want to mess around with tons of information and digging through, trying to figure out what something is, and that kind of thing. There are times in which that is something that you want, and then there are other times when you just want to get in and do your reading and be very clear about what that might be, and I think that this deck is going to excel at that. Here we have the 6 of Wands. We have that triumphant walk of the Rider-Waite-Smith 6 of Wands. And the 7 of Wands, holding his own, holding his space, definitely knowing what it is that he believes in, being willing to fight for it. We have the beautiful 8 of Wands. Normally you're just seeing, right, 8 wands kind of going across. I love this confident jumping, being ready to take that leap, being ready to jump and leap. I always think of the 8 of Wands in the Rider-Waite-Smith as like, be ready to grab hold of one of those flying wands when that opportunity comes. And that's the same idea of just be ready to leap and leap with enthusiasm. Here we have the 9 of Wands, who is very theatrically, sorry, Stephen, I love him, but he does seem to be a little, maybe that's a pose, like his knees not on the ground. He's very much standing his ground. He's got set up his defenses. He's standing his ground here, but the posture just gives me the giggles in a good way. You know me, I do like me a little bit of cheesy goodness. Let's see what he says. A man stands in front of 8 wands, brandishing a knife as a weapon of protection. He draws on every source of strength he has to keep going. I do get that sense where he's got the staff like into the ground and he's drawing up power. You do get a little bit of thou shalt not pass. I don't know. Love it. I love the 8 of Wands or the 10 of Wands because, the Rider-Waite-Smith 10 of Wands is that sense of duty and responsibility, but he's continuing to plug forward, right? He's putting one foot in front of the other despite that, which is what I like to see in a 10 of Wands. Love the Page of Wands. The pages in this deck are young men, as the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith is, and I just, you can see, even though it's just a silhouette, you get that sense of youth. Active Knight of Wands. He looks like he's going to go and, not catapult, I don't know what that's called, when you go and jump, you stab that rod into the ground and leap over the top of things. So very active energy, which is great for the knight. Of course, a horse would be a little bit odd in a modern deck, so this works really well. The Queen of Wands with her traditional cat. And the King of Wands. I like that he's kind of sitting in a director chair. You've got that sense of creativity and movies and directing maybe, but that's just what comes to mind. Beautiful Ace of Cups. Again, we have an arm that looks like it is connected to something. I love the dove that's shown here. It's just a beautiful ace. 2 of Cups, very traditional. We have 2 people coming together. I like the hair at the back of her neck. Feels very like a moment on a cruise ship. with an old, you know, black and white movie or something like that. I love it. Three of Cups, we definitely have people having a party here. Yeah, it's cute. I love their positioning of people. I like the, almost looks like little spotlights on them, so they're definitely celebrating togetherness. The Four of Cups traditional, you all know me. I'm not a huge fan of the boredom aspect of the Rider-Waite Four of Cups, but it is a, you know, this is a Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and it definitely, you can see that, again, without the use of details, you can still very clearly get across that nuance with the Four of Cups. So I think that that's really well done. To get that energy and that what's going on behind it without any detail. So I love it. Love this Five of Cups. I think it's beautiful. Again, very traditional. We've got the knocked over cups and we've got the upright cups, and definitely the body posture, speaking of sorrow here. Gorgeous Six of Cups. I will say, well, the moon, I mean, I guess this, oh, we do have a horse here, which does work. It's not like we don't ride horses in the, that was kind of silly to say. Obviously, we feel like we have the sun here, but overall, it kind of feels like a moony deck, but that could just be, you know, I don't know. I don't know why. So far, I'm feeling it's a kind of a moon-heavy deck, which I'm not opposed to. Love this, though. It's adorable. It definitely doesn't look like it's in the daytime. Here we have the Seven of Cups. Very much a moon there. I love the hands in the pocket. Those little details in the midst of non-details is really lovely. I do even like that they're just cups. There's all this potential for what these things could be. Or that they're not, they're empty cups. Love this Eight of Cups. She is going off to her next adventure to sort things out, going outward and inward. Very gorgeous. Here we have the Nine of Cups, and we have somebody, it almost looks like he's sitting in front of shelves, like with the cups, almost like trophies. So we have that sense of confidence and having everything that he wanted. You know, the Nine of Cups is that wish card there, and so it seems like he has gotten everything that he wanted, that wish fulfillment, so that works for sure. Here we have the Ten of Cups. I really like this card because it's quite ambiguous. Now, that could be very easily, I could see that with as being two males, but it also could be two females, or two, a male and a female, and the age even seems ambiguous. So I really like that. That's, I think, fantastic. It seems quite inclusive. But still fitting very nicely in with the whole imagery. So I love it. I love the little fish here with the Page of Cups. Again, you've got that very strong feeling of youth in the pages, which I love. You have the Knight of Cups with his cup here. I love the lighthouse here. And I like pages that are looking into cups. A couple of my favorites do that. Love the Queen of Cups with what clearly must be a cup of tea. I love, again, her hair. I like the female various hairstyles that I think he does a really good job with. Those are the little things that I like. And then we have the King of Cups with his cup. Looks like to be champagne. Brings us to my favorite suit. Not my favorite suit in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's definitely my favorite suit. Here we have the Ace of Swords, although I've already seen this Ten of Swords and I do approve. Two of Swords, again, swapped to a male figure. We still have the blindfold. We have that sense of, okay, now you're going to figure out where you're going and moving forward. So, you know, it's still a traditional Two of Swords. The Three of Swords, I will take this over the, you know, the pierced heart of the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, but we still have that, you know, wounded heart here. But for me, it's the growth of the mind, and this works. It can be from past great experiences, past difficult experiences, and growing and learning from that. So that works. We have the Four of Swords taking a rest on the couch before getting back. We do have the 3 and then the traditional 4th one laying down as you would normally see. So don't let that 3 in a quick scan fool you, which the pagan otherworlds throws me off because they're not close to each other, but this one's so clear that he's laying down. The 5 of Swords, he has 1, but at what cost? We have the 6 of Swords, which is just a single person leaving with all the swords, but same, concept of going off into the sunset here, going to better horizons. The sneaky 7 of Swords, he is up to something. We don't know what he's up to, but he is definitely up to something. I love this 8 of Swords. This is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous 8 of Swords. I mean, look at that. There's just something so powerful about silhouettes. 9 of Swords, again, that overactive imagination that's going on that can be good. It can definitely drive us forward and upward towards our goals, but it can also exaggerate our fears and our anxieties as well, which you can definitely see this as the posture-wise. You can certainly see this as a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. Beautiful. See, and I really like this because, truthfully, I know that some people maybe that are strict Rider-Waite-Smith are going to be like, oh, okay, this is kind of a positive spin on the 10 of Swords because he looks so powerful. He's like, okay, just throw it at me, like I can take it. I'm going to rise up from this, right? And for me, it's that culmination of all of this mental pursuit and still being able to come through that and come to full fruition of the suit of swords, the suit of air, the suit of the mind. This actually works really well for me. Thank you, Stephen. I'm sure you did that just for me. Here we have the beautiful Page of Swords. Again, very youthful energy. He looks like he's playing Pirates of the Caribbean or something. And then we have a very strong Knight of Swords. I love the bird up here. Is there a bird in here? No. I love the bird here, but he looks strong. He is off to save the damsel in distress. I mean, come on. It's the Queen of Swords. She's got a book and a pen, maybe a tablet, maybe a computer. Just, I love it. I absolutely love it. And the strong King of Swords here. Love it. And that brings us to the Ace of Pentacles, which is, again, beautiful. I feel like it's still connected to something. I love the greens. Love the balancing of the traditional Two of Pentacles. Everybody working together with the Three of Pentacles. Love this nod to the stained glass. I really like this one. If you follow my channel, you know part of my issue with the Rider-Waite-Smith is the fours. And with this one, yes, you can read this as a greed card, but it also is just holding on to resources, which is how I view this card. So this works actually quite well for me. Here we have the Five of Pentacles being off and away and feeling. There's definitely a sense of loneliness here. A little bit extra loneliness, in fact, because we don't see the light of the... We do see the church and we see the windows here. But he's kind of far off, poor guy. Stephen, you should have given him a door to go into so he could go into the light. I love the moon, though. The moon is lighting the way, saying, come to the church. Here we have the Six of Pentacles, the sharing of wealth, allocating of wealth. We do have 6 pentacles, the 5 plus the 6th one that he's handing out. And that understanding of how are you allocating your resources. So that works very well as a traditional 6 of Pentacles. Again, he's done his work. He's now kind of needing to wait, doing a little bit of an assessment, right, while he waits. Oops, sorry. I know. I can't help sometimes. I start shuffling. Sorry. That was random. So, yeah, we got the 7 of Pentacles. I love this 8 of Pentacles, industriously working. We have a sewing machine, could be designing some clothes, could be just making some things that need to be, can be very industrious, or could be being very creative. There's just that whole energy there. I also like the blending of what appears to be a masculine figure, although it doesn't need to be, and the sewing machine. So you've got that, kind of blurring those lines of what is traditional with what gender, and I quite like that. Love this. I'm so glad he didn't change this, because this is actually one of the cards I really love in Rider-Waite-Smith. She looks sassy. She looks like she has got all that she needs to be well living within luxury. She's got her bird on her shoulder. Not a bird of prey, but I actually quite love that little guy. And so I love this. Love it, love it, love it. 10 of Pentacles, again, that sense of everybody coming together. It almost seems we have generations, and we have, we have older generation, children, adults. You have just that sense of everything's coming up roses. Love it. Again, very cocky youth of the Page of Pentacles. I like the lawnmower with the Knight of Pentacles, right? He is he's getting down there and doing the work that needs to be done. He's not off trying to slay dragons. We have the beautiful Queen of Pentacles. I love the rabbits in the background. And this is the only card I have to say, maybe the DJ, although the DJ is cheeky, I like it. I don't, and he's not the only person, and again, everybody sees the King. We're going to read it. We're going to read, Stephen's going to convince me, why is the King of Pentacles slouching? Let's see, and he's not the only one. I have seen this before. A man, see, he's relaxing. See, again, he's not slouching, he's relaxing, Kelly. We're going to read the whole thing. I am the one who has built myself up through hard graft and is now secure. I was once an apprentice, but now I pay the wages of others. I like good things in life and have no problem with paying for them. A man relaxes on a roof garden with the city behind him, a pentacle displayed like a trophy on a small table. The King of Pentacles is in a place of comfort. He doesn't look very comfortable. Maybe that's the part. Like, that does not look comfortable, Stephen. No. This gives him a certain amount of power, which he can use positively or negatively. This man might describe a boss, bank manager, or investor. He can advise of our own spending power, but negatively could suggest someone who is more interested in possessions than people. Successful, comfort, materialistic, and powerful. I don't get the sense of powerful, only in the sense that I guess he has the luxury, right, of relaxing and kicking back. He's kind of, I do like that aspect. He's done the work, he's put in the time, and now he's being able to just relax, kind of King of Pentacles. So I will work on loving the slouchy King of Pentacles just for Stephen. So there we have it. Let me zoom back out. I love this deck. I do. It gives me, again, that beautiful energy of the Idiosyncra deck, but much more adult. Not the other's not adult, I use it. But there is a sweetness to that deck where this is much more clear, concise. Like, I feel like this could be one of those workhorsey kind of decks, which I love. Just get in there and you're going to do the work, and you're going to get clear, concise answers to the situation. And that's one of the advantages of such a, the silhouettes and the clean, simple lines. It's really beautifully done. Well done. Well done, Stephen. Again, quite Rider-Waite-Smith. So the issues that I have with some of the Rider-Waite-Smith cards have nothing to do with this particular deck. It's just, my particular issues with Rider-Waite-Smith. This is a beautiful rendition of the Rider-Waite-Smith, and I use these types of decks all of the time. Shuffling-wise, you definitely get a little bit of a drag from the lamination. That's something that tends to, with shifter cards, ease up with use. You can also get fanning powder, and there's probably other things. I can't remember if it was cornstarch that you can use as a fanning powder that will help too. But I tend to think on their own, just with use, that kind of thing breaks in with lamination. Oops. I quite like the size a lot. I think it's going to be a great size for the table, and it's also, it's just a real great size for shuffling. It's a good sizing there. Oops. They're a little, it's funny because they're kind of sticky, but at the same time they do want to go around. Let's see what it looks like out in a bigger spread, and then I will show his. So I always start there, and then I do the past and the future, the 4 elemental positions here. Oh, that DJ is going to come to haunt me. No, I do like the concept of that. It works really well. The King of Cups, so we can see the colors there. Love that. Love that. So we can really see the pentacles. We can see the cups. Pentacles, pentacles, pentacles. We can see the cups. We do get a little greenier tone than yellow that I associate with the swords, but it's definitely enough of this other green that this does stand out much more yellow. So I do quite like the colors of the minors. And so of course in the majors though, you're just going to have a variety of different colors come into play. But look at the size wise, like it's really great for my reading space, which is what you see here. This is a really good, actually, you know, that can move up further. I wasn't paying attention to the camera, but this is a really great size deck for client readings. It's also very clear for client readings. The titles are very clear for client readings, which is also nice so that they can reference the photos well. It's just really beautiful. Really beautiful. I like it a lot. You know, I was saying on live chat that you know, when it's somebody that you, I don't know Stephen, but you know, I feel like he's been around and we've kind of chit-chatted back and forth and things since I've been on YouTube and things. And so I kind of am rooting for him. And so when I got his deck, I was like, please let me not only just get behind it because I'm, you know, happy for him. I don't have to like everybody's deck, but I just wanted to really, really love it. And I actually quite do. I wanted to be able to wholeheartedly recommend it. And I can definitely do so. Okay, so let's take a look. I think the way his cross here had it, yeah, we do 1 at the top. There's my beautiful moon. 2 at the bottom with the 2 of cups, or the Ace of Cups, and then 3, 4, and 5. See how that pentacle really stands out there? Let's see, so what is this at the top? The top, although I think he even said to wait and do this at the very end, but we're going to read this to the end apparently. I should have waited to flip that over. But up here we have the focus of the spread being the moon, what's going on internally, what's going on inside, right? Which makes really good sense with what we've got going on here, because we've got the Strength card, needing to reconcile our inner self with our outer self, that coming into a sense of control with the King of Cups of our emotions, right? And that being able to lead to balance. So that's really beautiful. And I love that we have the moon. There's some work, there's some internal shadow work and things of that nature perhaps to do. And what stands at the base, well, let's see what this is. I would read this sort of as a base with that Ace of Cups, but this is represents guidance from the spiritual realm. So that beginning energy and that full fruition of emotional health and emotional everything coming up roses, right? Everything good in the emotional realm. That full fruition of the internal emotions, and then how those connect with others. So to have that as the base here is really beautiful and quite pertinent to me, as always happens when I do these readings. So there you have it. I'm going to color the edges of this and then come back. Although I have to say I kind of like but I can't leave them like that. So I'm gonna blacken those edges and come back so that you can just see what it looks like. Okay, I'm sure the color has totally changed because it is the next morning. I about fell asleep last night. I was so tired, but I really wanted to look at all the cards. So you can see that I have edged, I still need to go through now that it's daylight and touch up a couple spots. But look how gorgeous that is. Oh, all I use, people always ask, is a Sharpie king-sized marker. It's so much easier to use when you have a chisel tip. And so I use a chisel tip. King size is my favorite of the blacks to do. And Sharpied the edge, and it looks amazing. If you, as I've said before, a la information from my lovely friend Itzy, if you have the marker to the backing of the card and go this way, you're going to have less likelihood of it coming onto the front of the card. Now, in this case, it's easy to wipe off because of the high gloss of the card, number one. And number two, even if you were to get a very fine line of black, I don't really see, maybe a little bit. Even if you were to get that very thin line of black, it just looks amazing with the black bottoms and the silhouette. So I think it looks fantastic. And it was just, you know, meant to have black sides. But that's just personal preference, personal preference. I do know that Steven trims his decks and does different things, so I'm sure he will not be offended by the alteration of his deck. These are just some of my favorite cards that I pulled out to take a picture of the edging, because of course I had to show. But these are just some of my ultimate favorite cards, although there's many more of them in here. But these I just, whoa, you know, that's that kind of like, okay, I love these. So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. Again, this has been a look at Stephen Bright's Spirit Within Tarot, and this is actually a deck that I can see getting a lot of use out of. I think that it is a very clear, which I probably already said, it's the next day, so yeah, I'm probably repeating myself, but I think that it's one of those decks that is going to be fantastic for when, again, just getting in there and doing the work and getting the answers. This one still makes me smile, Stephen. This one makes me smile. It's a little bit of that dramatic posing there. But I love that when you have cards like that that just make you smile. And so, anyways, yeah, there we go. I hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful day.